All right.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Straight Talking with Kelly, where real conversations happen. This is where you'll meet the most intelligent, talented, and creative people who come to share tips, resources, and knowledge on various topics. Join me today in welcoming my guest, Dr. Gina Fromer. She is the Vice President and CEO of the Glide Foundation. Did I get that right, Gina?
No, President and CEO.
President and CEO of the Glide Foundation. Welcome,
Yes.
Gina.
Thank you.
So let me read a little bit about Gina's background. Dr. Fromer has a wealth of leadership experience and deep connections to a vast array of communities across the state. She has advocated on behalf of families and children her entire life and says, it is all about empowering people to advocate for themselves, to create the social justice and the social change needed to change the world. What a statement. Wow. So Gina, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You and I go way back where you actually received my proposal from Tony Brock, who's a dear friend. And she actually gave you the proposal because you were looking for someone to get the kitchen up and running over at the Bayview YMCA. And I'll just never forget the day when I walked in and you stood up and reached your hand out to me and says, you know what, can you do everything on that paper? And when I told you, yeah, you were like, welcome, let's get started. And we got started and, you know, we rewrote the proposal, got more money, and the rest is history, right?
Absolutely. What a great program, Tony. And Tony was so eloquent to bring me the information. I said, I got to meet Kelly. And you came on in and I just knew it was something we needed because it was about young people and training and development and getting them from learning space around cooking experience to jobs.
Yeah.
And you did that so eloquently and so well. And we were a great team together. And I know I had to exit. I was coming toward a 14-year career in the Y, and I just needed to do something different at some point so I can come back to the Y as in my role. I wanted to be a CEO.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to get some more experience.
Yeah.
That it wasn't a natural attrition in the Y. So, and living in Bayview at the time, early on living in Bayview during my career, I got a chance to, see a lot of the people that I was working with in the organization. So it was a great opportunity, as well as you coming in and just doing this amazing work. I loved it.
Well, thank you so much. And like I said, it was just heartbreaking for me when I found out you were leaving. And I'm like, what? Because you and I were on such the same page that I know we would have done some phenomenal things together with Primed and Prepped. But, it turned out to do what it did, and it still was phenomenal. So, you opened the door where I had walked that proposal around for 8 years, literally. Took me 8 years.
And no, I couldn't believe that. Like, really?
Yeah. And so when you finally
and guess what,
yes.
Tony, is still going right now. I mean, not Tony. It's still going on right now, Kelly. And that's the beauty of it. Even that you seeded something that's still going on and still feeding the community in a way where young people are experiencing. And that was the goal of it in the first place.
Yeah,
getting
it was
the young
always
people
my
involved,
gift.
getting them into jobs. And
it was always
exactly.
I always said it was my gift to the community. I think that
absolutely
all of us could reach down inside and we can all do something for our community, no matter how big or how small. It doesn't have to be big, and so that was my gift. So Gina, I understand, Dr. Fromer, I have to remember that you are a Dr. Fromer. So Dr. Fromer, you are a 6th-generation San Franciscan. Share a little bit of your background and the schools you attended.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Bayview Point. My mom was a early child educator. She went to school at City College to get her AA degree in early care and development. During that time, she was able to be on welfare, get food stamps, and work part-time at the time. Because at the time, back then, it was really about getting out of poverty and not just keeping you in poverty like a lot of these systems are right now.
Yeah.
And so she, in her small income, put me and my sister and my brother at All Hallows Catholic School, which was a Catholic school in the Bayview community, one of the only 2 that were there. It's since closed, but a lot of young people went through All Hallows, and after All Hallows Catholic School, I graduated 8th grade, went off to ICA, Immaculate Conception Academy. And it was all girls school, very small amount of African American women. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm leaving the hood and going to a school where there's no Black people. But I got a chance to experience the other side of, Latinx culture and what it is to be in a school with all girls and nuns. And so it was an amazing experience. I really loved the school. When I left there, I went straight to San Francisco State, and I was a pre-law major at the time, English major, a pre-law. And decided that law was not for me because I didn't believe in the death penalty. As a young Catholic school girl, I didn't believe in it. So I went off into psychology and learned a wealth of information about leadership and organizations and how they go together and how people work and function. And all I knew is that I wanted to have a career where I can use all the things that I learned in school and all the things I did along the way. All along the way of my educational journey, I was working, and I was working at a local organization called Young Community Developers. So every summer that school was out, I would go to YCD and I would get a summer job. And that summer job meant running their youth programs or their My Youth program. And I did that until I was like 21, 22.
Wow.
And then went off and decided to just go in and get a job, and then I had my kids were born all along the way while I was in school. So in 88, I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I had stretched the rubber band of school out too much with 3 kids, trying to do it all. And I left San Francisco State with 102 units. So then I just went off into my work career, and I always worked in jobs that were nonprofit, case management, because I wanted to solve the world and heal everybody. And I ended back up and I met my husband in 98. And then we got married in 2000. We moved to San Rafael. And I ended up going to Dominican University of California to get my BA. And I knew that I wanted more in my career. So I couldn't be a vice president if I didn't have a bachelor's, right? And I couldn't be an executive director if I didn't have a bachelor's. I couldn't be a vice president, with a master's. I had to have that. And somebody told me, you cannot be a vice president in the Y without a master's degree. So I went and got a master's degree, and I loved it. I was doing my thing, and and during that time, every time I got a higher level in my education, I got a higher level promotion into a role. And so in 2006, I took on the Bayview Y and was there to 2014. And so and during that time in 2014, I became a certified life coach because I wanted to again try something different. And when I left the Y, I was just on this journey to figure out, how do I get to be a CEO, and what do I need to do, and where do I need to do it? So I landed a couple of jobs, but really ultimately the Children's Council of San Francisco was one where I became the CEO.
Congratulations.
Huge, thank you, CEO job. And the budget was like 85 million. It was the biggest budget I had, experience. I was like, whoa, this is great. Wow. That's awesome. And when I left last year, 2022, I started 2019, I left in 2022, 2023, I'm sorry. The budget was 250 million. So that all of that work and that journey of bringing resources to bear back into community was because of where I grew up. And I saw the need of what families need and how important it was to, ensure that people have what they need, food security, educational opportunities, all those things, especially young Black girls growing up in the hood, where these generational cycles of poverty need to be broken.
Yeah.
And so that's my life work. I think I do that in everything I've done, and I've seen it growing up. And so that's why I have dedicated my entire life to trying to, shift the dynamic, around poverty in our city and state.
So Gina, I love full circle moments. When Prime and Prepped had our 4th or 5th, well, I don't remember which one it was, Iron Chef competition back at San Francisco State, I knew that it was going to be time for me to leave the Y, because that was a full circle moment for me, because it had started there at San Francisco State, right in the Vista room. And that's where I had the last Iron Chef. So I understand you being back at Glide is a full circle moment for you. So talk to me about that.
Wow, so many ways. I don't have to tell you, when you're a young mom with 3 kids, not married, and even if you're in a relationship with their dad, how the struggle, you know, and nothing is ever enough. And so a couple of years, I remember, let me go back a little further. I remember standing in a food line with my mom when the Black Panthers gave out chickens up in Betrayal Hill. And she got all her 6 kids and we all got a bag and brought it home. And I remember that experience so well. And I always felt that, you know, my mom went in there with her chin held up. She didn't feel any fear to do what she needed to do to take care of her family. And that resilience that she had transpired over to me. So one year, I went and got a turkey dinner from Glide with me and my kids. My mom got on the bus with me from Bayview all the way to Glide. And no, I think it was 3 or 4 buses you had to catch up on top of that hill coming down. And we got a turkey dinner and I came home. We had a normal Thanksgiving because of Glide. You know, the next year we went back and we got toys and food. And so, and I remember the year after that, I was like, I said to myself, well, I don't have to go, Mom. I'm making enough money now. I don't have to go. You know, so that safety net was there for me as a young mom with kids and go standing in the line. Nobody, and I remember feeling like, oh my God, who gonna see me from the hood? Then I'm like, I don't even care.
You're right.
I don't even care. I'm doing this for my kids. I got my kids in me. I don't even care. And so, you know, the full circle moment is when I see young women coming into that center with their kids and I'm like, oh my God, that was me.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm sitting as the president and CEO for Glide Foundation, a place that is historical. Cecil Williams and his wife, Jan Miracatani, are historical. They did amazing things for San Francisco, for the movement, for LGBTQ, for freedom, for inclusivity, for love in our city.
It goes on and on for sure.
It goes on and on and on. And to be sitting in that seat, you know, when I was interviewed, Cecil, after I had 30 minutes with him after the whole interview cycle.
You know what? That was my next question. I was like, Cecil must be extremely proud of you. Tell me what that conversation was like.
Yeah. So, and he understands the full circle moment, you know. After the incident, I got the final interview with Cecil. I'm like, oh Lord, what's gonna happen? I went through all these interviews, the final interviews with Cecil. And so I don't know who was in the background. It was Zoom. I saw Cecil, but I didn't see anybody else, right? So he asked me some questions and I just answered them with being authentic, my authentic self. And after the interview, I think he everybody in the room was cheering. My understanding was they were cheering like, that's the one. And Cecil said, that's the soul of Glide. Gina is the soul of Glide. And when he told me that after the fact, I was like, oh my gosh. And so that's the kind of impression I've had on him. And he got to our event and he talks to people about, you know, he's so glad I'm there. And he can finally, his daughter said to me at a dinner recently, my dad can finally rest. Like he's not worried. He knows Glide is in good hands. And I just thought it made me feel really special.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's a historic moment too, I think. And I think for San Francisco and the people in Bayview, Hunters Point, that's why I'm so glad that I'm able to do this podcast, to be able to share this with people, just to show what the possibilities are and can be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Absolutely.
you are definitely an example of that in such a major way, constantly still giving back to an organization that really helps the real needy.
Absolutely, Kelly. And I see people, it's so funny. I see people, it's not really funny because I see people that Glide that I grew up with.
Yeah.
And they're like, Gina, oh my God, I saw your picture up there. There's a level of comfort when you grow up in the hood, a hood that I'm calling it a hood. You know, some people called it ghettos back then, but it was our village.
Yeah.
When you grow up in this village of poverty and everybody's poor, you create a camaraderie. And so I see a lot of people. And a sidebar, Kelly, I had a food pantry at my church, Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church. It's bottom of the hill in Hunters Point, right across from Bible Liquor Store, going on its way down to the shipyard. And I held that before COVID for 16 years. I ran a food pantry, the bottom of the hill in Hunters Point. It was the best food pantry in San Francisco.
Wow.
The food bank used to bring their board members to see our food pantry, farmers market style. So giving back to me is like, it's what we need to do. We need to do, especially in a community that has given me so much, even in poverty.
Yeah.
Bayview Hunters Point gave me so much.
Yeah. So, Dr. Fromer, so talk about the mobile services that you have coming online in 2025 about for Glide. And what
Yeah,
do
the
you,
mobile, right, right. So that predates, the vision predates me, of course, because I just got there.
okay,
But the gist of it is that there's a perception that Glide is in the Tenderloin. Here are the walls of the Tenderloin, and we got Glide, and we only serve within these walls. That is no more. The vision, the new strategic plan, the vision is about Glide Forward. And in Glide Forward, it talks about meeting people where they are,
okay,
using our best practices at Glide to take them citywide, working with key partners in different communities to bring services that are not being offered. So maybe in our mobile van, we have dental services. Maybe in our mobile van, yes, we have all the things that support harm reduction and health access.
yeah,
But maybe there are other things, you know, there's housing resources, there are computers that are going to be there. People can go online and register for Medi-Cal and CalWorks, all these things right then and there. So
yeah,
it's mobile services that are go to complement the work that other communities, organizations that are already doing.
that's awesome.
So we don't want to take anything away. We want to add value to what the FRCs or Defender Research Centers are doing across the city,
Yeah,
what the Y is already doing some in our city, and many organizations, the Dreamkeeper Initiative and all of its grantees, what they're doing in community. Our goal is to not supplant, but to optimize,
yeah,
you know, and add value to
yeah,
what's already happening. And you know, believe me when I tell you, there's people everywhere. We have a lot of things going on in the Tenderloin that needs our support. We've been doing it for 60 years. We're going to continue to do it. We do it very well. But there's so many more things we want to do. And so mobile services we would have a fleet of vans that will be fully stocked, and they will go out to the Western Addition, and they will go out to Sunnydale, which is resource rich in a lot of areas, but it's a lot of resource poor in a lot of areas.
yeah,
And so we will definitely connect with resources there to make sure, oh, the van is coming today,
okay.
you know, and they're going to know we're going to add value to what's already happening in the community, not take anything away.
That is so beautiful. So your leadership abilities are going to make such a huge difference in the lives of so many. And then one of the things that I know about you, you definitely, I'm sure, are planning to develop future leaders. Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Right now at Glide, we have the Glide Foundation has 3 doors. If you visualize this, right? The spiritual door is at Glide Memorial Church. And of course, it's famous church, been around for a long time. Cecil was the Reverend. That's our spiritual door. So many people come through that door to enter into our programs.
okay,
The middle door is our programs, the Women's Center, the Men's Program, Men in Progress Program, our walk-in center, all the work we're doing around trauma and health access, needle exchange, all those things we're doing, COVID shots, flu shots. We partner with UCSF to do a lot of this work in community. We have a service hub where people can just walk up and get services right then and there on the outside, because everybody's not going to walk into the building, right? We have our legacy programs, meals, 364 days a year. We
wow,
serve 3 meals a day at Glide. We have our volunteers. We have corporate volunteers. People from the community want to volunteer. People re-entering society from prison want to come volunteer. Our volunteer program is robust. Oh my God, there's so many people there today to volunteer, to serve food, you know. And we have the Center for Social Justice, which is the heart of public policy work, the heart of the fight to make sure that the rules and laws coming out of City Hall and the state are going to be applicable to the people we serve. We
yeah,
don't want anything damaging the relationships with the city, of course, but we're not going to agree on everything. We serve a very vulnerable population and families. And if there are rules and laws coming out that's going to impact them, Glide takes a stand, you know, and we're going to say what we have to say because we know that it's going to impact the people we serve in that community, and believe me, citywide, in a negative way.
yeah,
So we speak up. And so those 3 doors are the way people come to Glide right now. And so it's been amazing,
yeah,
you know, and we have other programs. Our Center for Applied Learning is a department that is looking at research and white papers and partnering not only with UCSF, but with Stanford and other places that will be able to tell the story of, you know, the houselessness of these individuals that we're working with, the mental health of the people that we are working with, and how we can support them, right? And there's addictions, the recovery program, there's levels of recovery that Cecil used to say, everybody's in recovery. We're recovering from something, whether it's injury, trauma from childhood, all of us are in recovery. And if we center it around love, you know, everything is possible. And I firmly believe that in my heart, that love is the key to all these things. And so I not only am full circle as a president and CEO, but I believe in Glide. I believe in its mission, its vision to be the change that we need to see in the community.
Honey, I can feel your passion, okay? Your passion is coming through, and you know, it's got me excited. I keep smiling and just go, Lord have mercy, this girl.
Okay, let's bring a prep program to the meal program. Come on, we can do it on weekends.
Now look, so now tell me this, Gina, because one of the things, just listening to you and the passion that you're exuding, you love San Francisco. Am I right or wrong? And if so, tell me why. Tell me why you love it.
Well, let me tell you why I left first. In 2000, in 1990, around 1998, 99, my sons were going to Thurgood Marshall High School, which is in Bayview. Their best friend was shot right in front of the school. And this was a part of many young Black boys getting killed. I had 3 Black sons. I was not willing to lose my kids. And so, you know, gentrification came in the way of violence. I ran because I wanted to save their lives. So we bought a home I had married my husband in 2000, we bought a home in San Rafael. And so I think today that saved my boys' lives, because one of them was on that track, you know, and the other one was on. So I don't know, but I do know why I left San Francisco was what my mother stood in them lines for early on, was for survival for her kids.
Yeah.
I did the same thing when I left San Francisco. I absolutely love San Francisco. I have 6th generation of women that came from Philadelphia in a covered wagon and hence landed in Oakland, and then the beginning of Oakland, and then San Francisco in 1840s. And my 2 ancestors ended up in Victoria, Canada. They're buried there. They were famous people up there. But their one daughter stayed here.
Okay.
Mary, and she ended up, that was my grandmother's grandma. And yeah, that's how it you know, and they worked in all of the rich homes. You know, they had to barter their kids. It was not a pretty thing what happened back then. But I love San Francisco because I believe in this city. I believe that, you know, there's so much possibility here.
Yeah.
And COVID really did a number on San Francisco. Now there's, you know, somebody reminded me that 30 years ago, the Tenderloin has always been like this. It didn't just happen because of COVID. It didn't happen overnight. 30 years ago, it was crack and heroin and other things. Tenderloin has been a dumping ground for San Francisco for a long time.
Okay.
It's now time to clean it up. And so what we're seeing and experiencing in San Francisco is just an awakening. People are waking up to, they're wanting something different. And I think COVID did so much damage with houselessness and, you know, people just being so depressed that substance abuse elevated. And, you know, the other piece that I want to just mention, Kelly, real quick, is I also think that houselessness is because of, people come to California because of climate change. Do you see what's happening in the East Coast right now? It is so cold. People are depressed. It is so bad right now. They're getting on buses to come west. Wow. Because of the weather. So we're getting more people to California because of the weather too. Yeah. And so we have to, I think as a state, as a governor, we have to rethink that and pick our battles around, you know, we got a huge population of people coming south, up, they're coming east to west. You know, it's like a mass exodus now because of climate change. You know, how does California deal with that?
I am so glad you brought that up, because I hear so many people wanting to blame the mayor for this happening. And it's like, this has been going on for years, and it's not just happening here in San Francisco, it's happening across the United States.
Absolutely, Kelly. Absolutely. You know, the whoever's in power is going to take the blame. Just like if something happened, you the boss, you take the blame. You own it. That's there's no way to not own it.
Oh, yeah.
But the reality is this stuff was in the making 10 to
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
And we knew downtown was dying. As an example, when Amazon started taking over everything, internet started, all the shopping happening online. We
Absolutely.
should have knew downtown, it was already struggling. COVID just killed it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is there's reasons for these things. It doesn't take a rocket science to know that people are busing here because right now it's cold.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's cold.
Absolutely. Wow. So Gina, we're going to segue out to a couple of little different things right now, because with all this energy that you have and all of the work that you do, how do you nurture yourself? How do you take care of you?
That's a good question. I know you know this, Kelly, but I lost my son in 2022 in May to COVID. He was diabetic and had recovering cancer and stuff. So I lost him. And then 2 months later, my daughter came into my life. So I have an 18-month-old baby girl who's amazing. And then this past July, 2023, I lost my husband of 25 years. And so, that alone is traumatic, right?
Absolutely.
And but I lost my mom, my grandma in 1 year. I know what that kind of pain is. And I think for me, I look for joy in things. I take care of myself. I go off on my own little weekends away, take the baby or put the baby in care and just go take care of myself. Since my husband died, I just do that, right?
Yeah.
But all along the way, I take care of Gina. I know what I want. I take care of me. I take the time I need. If I need not to go to work because I'm just feeling kind of not icky today, I don't go. That's one thing COVID has done positive is that when you don't feel like you can, you're up to 100%, you stay home, and you don't want to get anybody else sick. You just do that. And that's a part of taking care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm at work 4 days a week back, almost 5. 7. Last week I was there 6 days a week, right? So I do what I need to do to get the job done, but I take care of myself. I really do. And I walk, I exercise, I'm a vegetarian, I juice every day.
I remember that gluten-free Gina. That's what I was going.
I'm gluten-free. I do try to take care of myself as far as food and stuff, but I get my little cravings like everybody else,
Absolutely.
And I think for me, I think what really feeds me, honestly, is my faith in God.
Okay.
And because that's number one, and then my family,
Yeah.
And when I'm down, I'll call my sons over and say, come, I made dinner, just to have my family around me. And they come because they know I need it at the time. So, and I'm a 49er fan. So we doing good. I feel good.
That's good. And your energy is up. I love that. So now tell me, I would like for you to name 3 people who have inspired you. I'm sure there's more, but I'm just, 3.
Yeah. I've been asked this question in many different ways. And I'm gonna answer it in a way that I would normally answer. One is my mother.
Okay.
She was an amazing woman. Her love and softness of life and how she embraced people and took care of people. It was just infectious, and I learned so much from my mom. Dr. King, actually, he was an Aries. He, I have him in pictures all over the place because I really believe that this man was trying to do something through love and faith and peace, and they took him down, And so I think for me, he's one of my heroes. He really is, and he inspired me to continue to do what I do through the work. I listen to his Birmingham jail sometimes. I think that's the most powerful speech that the writings that he's ever done was the letter from Birmingham jail. It says so much about injustice anywhere. Is justice here, is justice anywhere. Those kind of statements are all about being the change. And I think that's what I kind of live my motto by. And I think the third person, that I think has motivated me and been that silent hero for me, and it was my sister Luana. We all grew up in Hunters Point, and she doesn't know this. And so my sister never wanted to be in the hood. She went to Washington High School. She was on drill team. She was on volleyball. She did everything to keep her out of the neighborhood. And as her baby sister, I didn't really know that. but she would go to my grandma's house. She never wanted to be in Hunters Point. But what she was telling me was my mom, because my mom didn't know where she was, I would go with her. Right. And so what I got experienced to was another side of life, right? Another, Washington High School, and her friends were white and some of them had money. So I got a chance to get out of the hood and experience different things. And my sister was the first Black postmaster of Oakland.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, she had all these firsts. She was a high postal worker, high positions. And she went to Chicago, first Black woman to do this. Oakland, first Black woman postmaster, got all kind of awards. So I saw that somebody can come out of the hood and do well.
Yeah.
And she was pre-law too. And she decided to go off into post office and kept going higher and higher. So I saw that with my sister. And so it was just that inspiration to say, you know what, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's that early. There's so many other people that I can say influence me. Chuck Collins, Chip Rich, different people, my mother, my grandma, my aunt, but these are the three that rise to, I still lean on them emotionally, spiritually, for writings and teachings, and just, seeing my sister in a way she is happy right now, and in retirement, all the things she accomplished. So those are three people that three individuals that I really feel that helped me become who I am today because of who they were.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So now, Dr. Fromer, what would the 9-year-old Gina say to the adult Gina today?
Oh my God.
What she got to say? What she got to say to you today?
Yeah. The 9-year-old Gina. I know what I know what I would say to the 9-year-old Gina.
Oh, you can
believe me, I know that. I know. I think what I would say to the 9-year-old Gina, I think what the 9-year-old Gina would ask me is, was it easy? How do I not go through the bad things that you experienced? The trauma that you went through to get to this point. How do I not go through it? And I would say to her, you know what? You gotta go through it, because that helps shape who you are today.
Absolutely.
Every bump, every peak, and every valley that you've gone through is because to get you to this point. Any change in those I could be somebody different right now, right? And so I would tell them, live your life, go through it, become who I am, and don't try to change anything, because that can deter you from where I am right now, and there's a lot of things I would change growing up. I would eat better early on. I would, there are certain things, but there's no guarantee of anything.
Right.
I think God has us in our moments of time as we need to be. And, I had my husband for 25 years. He was the most amazing man, amazing relationship we were in. And, things happen for a reason or a season. And I had him for a season, and it was the most amazing season. And so I cherish it, and it helped me learn what true love was. And I know what love is.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So Dr. Fromer, as we close the show, what advice would you give to aspiring leaders, or people who want to become CEOs, or people who want to, get into community service? What advice will you give them?
Or, the advice I give young people right now who are doing really well in their careers, and they ask me that question, I tell them to keep their work in front of them. I never worried about, back then, I never chased money. I was chasing the dream for my community. The money came along with that, right? But I would tell them, keep your work in front of you. Do your job, do it well, be the best you can be, get the help you need, go to school, demand training, and because their job is you. I tell my staff, my job is you. I need to help you become the leader that you need to be and want to be. And so that's why I lead from behind.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
push people up front.
Yeah.
And in that, there's a lot of leadership that has occurred, and a lot of new leaders. Right now at the Bayview Y was a young lady that worked at the Y, and I brought her in as associate director, executive director there. And now she's running the organization. The other young lady I brought in, Takaija, she's the vice president for the Y now. So, each one teach one. I believe that ever since I was a case manager, but now I believe in population. We got to move a whole bunch of people. And that's why I do what I do. Yeah.
Absolutely. So now, what kind of support do you need for the work that you do at Glide? How can people help you?
Wow. Glide is every day looking for volunteers, glide.org, sign up, give us a call. Of course, resources to bear. We are, our meals program, Family Resource Center. We have so many places people can give and donate and contribute time, treasure, and talent. Come on out, come talk to me about what your passions are. We can figure out a way. Maybe there's a workshop you want to give to some of the people that we serve. There's so many ways, but glide.org, easy website. It's very, very comprehensive and easy to navigate. It'll give you a lot of information about how you can support Glide or contribute or be a part of it.
It's beautiful. So Dr. Fromer, thank you so much for taking out the time to be here with me. I really, really have enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you, Kelly. And I'm glad everything has worked out. And you keep on being an amazing seamstress and star that you are. I just appreciate knowing you and all the work that you're doing and being able to bring truth telling. This is truth telling. This is one of Glide's values, to tell the truth and bring our stories forward so other people can benefit from them. Absolutely. So I thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. Thank you for saying that. So to my listening audience, please continue to watch Straight Talking with Kelly, where real conversations happen. Like, subscribe, and share with others. And Gina, we definitely will get together soon. Thank you, Kelly. I am so proud of you. And, you are definitely a product of what San Francisco can really produce. So thank you for being you. Thank you.